I didn't find out my marriage was over in a therapist's office or during a quiet midnight confession or even through a suspicious text message. I found out on a sunny Saturday afternoon, standing barefoot in my own backyard holding a tray of food I'd spent hours preparing while everyone I thought was my community stared at me like I was the last person to get the joke. And yeah, that detail still messes with me. It was supposed to be a simple summer cookout. Nothing fancy. Just string lights, cheap folding chairs. Burgers on the grill. Music low enough that people could actually talk. I've always been that person. The planner, the glue, the one who believes if you create the right environment, people will be happy. I used to think that was a strength. That day, it felt more like a curse. My husband, let's call him Eric, was at the grill laughing with his buddy's beer in hand, acting like the most relaxed guy in the world. Looking back now, that's what hurts the most. He looked so comfortable. Meanwhile, I was running on fumes, smiling on autopilot, telling myself the distance between us was just work stress, just a phase. You know how we lie to ourselves when the truth feels too expensive. Then, his best friend Mark, the loud one, the one who never knows when to stop drinking, decided to play truth teller. He slurred my name loud enough to cut through every conversation. So, when are you finally leaving him? At first I laughed because obviously it was a joke, right? Except he didn't laugh back. He looked confused, almost annoyed, like I was the one pretending. That's when the ground shifted. He said it out loud. Said Eric had been seeing someone from work for months. Said everyone knew. Said it was awkward watching me play happy wife when the ending had already been written. The tray slipped from my hands. I remember cheese on the grass. I remember silence. And I remember the look on Eric's face. Not guilt, not panic, but fear. The fear of someone who's been caught managing two lives and suddenly lost control of the script. That moment broke something in me, but it also woke something up. Because once the shock passed, once the humiliation settled into my bones, one thought kept repeating in my head: I will not be small in my own story. I asked everyone to leave. Not dramatically, not screaming, just calmly. And that calm scared Eric more than yelling ever could. When it was just us, I asked him how long. He said 8 months like it was a statistic. 8 months of lies. 8 months of letting me host dinners for people who knew. 8 months of letting me doubt my instincts. That's not a mistake. That's a lifestyle. I told him to get out. He argued. He cried. He tried to negotiate like this was a misunderstanding we could workshop. But something in me had already shut the door. That night after he left, I sat alone in the wreckage of that party and realized something terrifying and freeing at the same time. No one was coming to save me, so I had to do it myself. The next morning, I didn't cry. I called a lawyer. I put on a suit. I looked in the mirror and saw a version of myself that was quieter, sharper, less willing to perform. I started digging, and wow. If you ever want to lose respect for someone fast, look at their financial trail, hotels, jewelry, accounts I'd never heard of. He hadn't just cheated on me emotionally. He'd been planning an exit quietly, strategically, like I was a business risk instead of a human being. Here's the thing no one tells you about betrayal. The rage comes later. First comes clarity. And clarity is dangerous. I documented everything. I stopped responding to his messages. I stopped explaining myself to friends who suddenly wanted to apologize for not knowing what to do. Funny how people always find their voice after the damage is done. Eric didn't take losing control well. He showed up at my gym, at my office, at a restaurant where I was having dinner with a coworker grabbing my arm like I belonged to him. That was the moment I stopped feeling sad and started feeling angry. Not explosive angry. Focused angry. The kind that gets restraining orders and wins court cases. The legal process was brutal, but clean. The truth doesn't need theatrics, it just needs documentation. When the judge ruled in my favor, when the hidden assets came out, when Eric finally looked as powerless as he'd made me feel, I didn't feel victorious. I felt finished. Finished carrying something that was never mine to fix. But the real turning point didn't happen in court. It happened in a quiet room in my apartment weeks later when I picked up a paintbrush for the first time in years. I used to love painting. Gave it up because it didn't fit the version of life I was trying to maintain. That night I painted like someone trying to breathe underwater. Colors everywhere. Messy. Honest. Mine. As my life rebuilt itself, something unexpected happened. I stopped craving validation. I got better at work. I slept better. I laughed without checking if anyone else was laughing too. I met people who knew me without knowing my past. I fell in love again slowly, carefully, with someone who never once asked me to be smaller so he could feel bigger. A year after that barbecue, I threw another party. Different place, different people, no secrets, no performance, just warmth. Someone asked me if I ever regretted leaving, if it would have been easier to stay and forgive. And here's my answer, the one I'll stand by no matter who disagrees. Peace is not found in endurance. It's found in self-respect. So let me ask you something and really think about it before you answer. When the truth finally shows up in your life, loudly, uninvited, in front of everyone, do you protect the illusion or do you protect yourself? Was I right to walk away, or should I have tried harder to save something that was already gone? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know where you stand.